Okay, I think we're live-ish. Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, looks like we are live. Guys, welcome to another exciting one. I've got really happy that we were able to put this together on such a short time frame. If everybody can hear me, go ahead and hit 1 in the chat. If everyone can hear audio. Why don't you say something real quick, Evan? Thanks for coming on, by the way.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here and finally be able to confront these accusations that have been laid on in the past.
Sure.
Coffee Zilla here has been the first person with a face who stood up against it and said something. So I'm very happy to hear and rest the concerns for once and for all.
Okay.
And hopefully I can add some value to everybody's time while they're here. Hopefully you guys get to learn something, and hopefully I can inspire you.
Awesome. So, yeah, I want to start with just a very basic thing. And I feel like this is not controversial. This isn't meant to, get you or anything like that. But I think one thing that I look for when I'm looking at entrepreneurs, stuff like that, is credibility and honesty. I think that I think you'd agree. If you lie, you lose credibility, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's a lot about being authentic.
Absolutely. And so I feel like that's a lot of the conversation that we're about to have, is that there's kind of a tale of two Evans going on. I think there's one side, which is like the stuff you'll see on, Forbes, all these these press sites where you're kind of the king of coding apps. You've been doing it since you're young. You're a successful investor. It's very polished. It's very whatever. Then there's this other story coming out from what you would classify as haters, right? And that say that, most of this is funded by your father's money to project an image of success without being the real thing. And so for me, deciding which of those to believe, and I think for my audience, what we have to look at is which of these two cases, of these two tales of the two Evans that we see on the internet, are more credible. I think that's like a good place to start. So with that said, let's just kind of jump into some of the allegations or accusations, whatever you want to call them. So let's start with, I think, the biggest maybe meme that's come out of this, which is Steve Jobs, okay? Tell me the full story of Steve Jobs. He's your mentor?
Before we get to the question, I want to say I agree with you. You're pretty smart. You got a good grasp of the situation. What's really happened out there is, there's a lot of misinformation, and nobody can control it. Today we sit in a world where the internet, which has given me everything, internet has made me what I am, right? I built all my businesses, most of them on the internet, but the internet is also a tool which you can spread a lot of misinformation through. So that's what has happened. So there's boon and there's bane. And I think it would be great to come to some conclusions and be able to give some more clarity around these questions and these allegations have come up, starting with the Steve Jobs topic.
Okay.
Is he a mentor? Your question was, is he a mentor, right?
Yeah, and just tell us the story with Steve Jobs.
So basically, to tell you the story with Steve Jobs, it would be good if I could spend a couple minutes in the background.
Well, first, was he your mentor or not? Let's just answer that question with a yes or no.
I think I would like to say yes.
Oh, he was. Okay.
I mean, if you look at the internet is my mentor, right? You don't have to talk to somebody all the time to consider them your mentor. I would like to believe that the internet has been my biggest mentor, right? I learn a lot. I learn a lot from a lot of people that I've never talked to, but I've seen their videos. I've learned from them, and I would consider them my mentor. So, because I've learned from them. But as far as actually communicating with him and talking to him, that only one call happens. There's only one call. There's only once he actually talked to me. But that does not mean I can't learn from it. I can't be inspired by it.
This seems like a little bit, I mean, I want to be respectful here. We just started, but it seems like a little bit of a question dodge, no? Like if I said, Jeff Bezos is my mentor, obviously I'm implying that he's mentoring me in the classical sense of like he's guiding me, he's pushing me on.
No, it wouldn't be. See, it's up to you. Did you spend a lot of time learning from Jeff Bezos? Did you spend time actually?
No, I would never but I would never say I was mentored by Jeff Bezos because it has a different connotation. I was inspired by Jeff Bezos, That's a word, right?
No, but if you take his learnings and build something upon what he was working on, right? And if you spend a lot of time on something that he was working on, and you basically, in a way, continued building on what he has built, right? So if you today learn from Jeff Bezos, if you go and learn from him, right? And if you read his books and if you follow what he has taught, and then you go build, I don't know, one of the biggest stores on Amazon, right? A really successful store on Amazon. In a context, you could say that he has mentored you. You are what you are because you learned from him and took his foundations or what he did and built upon that.
Okay.
So without him in there, you wouldn't be here today.
So,
in your example.
okay. I think this gets to my first problem, though, with some of the stuff that you said, is that a lot of it is self-serving marketing that makes it seem like you're more successful than you are. And I'm not gonna allege that you've never done anything, whatever. But what I'm saying is that you're manipulating. You're using we can get into the doctor thing later. You have Dr. Evan Luthra there. You're not a doctor. You have an honorary doctorate. So it's like you're sort of trying to market yourself as something that actually there's no backing for. And then when pressed on it, it seems like you say, oh, well, it's just that I was inspired by him, which everybody's inspired by Steve Jobs. Does that mean we're all mentored by Steve Jobs? Not everyone is.
No, but not everybody is building on his app. Not everybody is building apps. Not everybody spent all their childhood, all their days building tons of apps. Not everybody spent days reading what he was doing, what he was guiding. Not everybody spent hours in a row working on something that he was talking about, right? And I mean, in the PhDs, I don't know if you want to go to that right away.
No, not yet. Yeah. I just want to be clear because I think again, credibility is such an important thing here.
I think. See, it's a lot about opinions, right? It's a different way to look at it. I can say it's outright. I had one call with him. I'm always honest with that. I had one call with him, and that's it. And if somebody wants to consider that that's not a mentorship, that's fine. That's how you want to look at it. But to me, I consider him my mentor, and that allows me to go further. I would like to believe that. And if that allows me to become a better person, I don't think there's any harm in that.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, you say that you say you're mentored by Steve Jobs, but I have a little trouble believing that because on our call, I think yesterday, you said you were not mentored by Steve Jobs and that you never said that. I'll play that clip real quick. For the audience here.
I never said Steve Jobs was a mentor, by the way. I always said that I did one call with him. That's it.
So you probably can't hear that, but you said on the call, I never said I was mentored by Steve Jobs. I never said that.
Can you play the whole clip? Can you play the whole clip? What I said before and after that?
I mean, it was a long call. It was like 16 minutes.
No, let's just play the next 10 seconds. What did I say after that?
Yeah, sure. I'll try to pull it up. I mean, I clipped it out because it's just specific, but
I said on that call to you, I always said I did one call with him. That's it. And that's what I'm saying right now. I always did one call with him.
No. I agree you said that, but you said I never said I was mentored by Steve Jobs. I never said that.
And that's what I'm saying. He did not mentor me. That's the problem.
You just said you were mentored by him.
Yes, I'm telling you what I meant when I say mentored. I mean, I learned from him and I'm inspired by him. I did one call with him and I've always said that. Okay, you read everything I sent you. I told you I was one of the first 100 guys to make apps for the iPhone. I built my first app in 2010, right? In 2010. Mm-hmm. Today is 2020. That's over 10 years ago. Yeah. Okay. So, and I spent every day pretty much of all my childhood building apps. I've sent you all of that. I built about 30 apps before I turned 17. That I already sent you.
But
so for me,
go ahead.
For me, I'm learning from him, and that's mentorship. I'm learning from him. That's mentorship from me. If it was some other individual there, I probably would not have done this because I would not have been inspired by that individual. See, again, like that's the point. I didn't want this conversation to go where you're picking up. You're basically defining the word how you want to use the word mentorship, right? That's what.
It's not about that. It's about honesty and transparency. And I really want to get into this first 100 people who created an app. I think that's a really important point that you've said a lot. And unfortunately, it's not true. So You posted your first app on the 15th of October, 2010. You sent me a screenshot of it, okay, of your Facebook post about it. Can I show that?
Yeah, that's the first public app I posted.
Okay, everybody.
Yes, I agree.
So this is his claim that he created an app. This is from his Facebook in 2010. The problem, though, is that the App Store was released in July of 2008. And it was released with 500 apps on the App Store. So the first 500 apps were done in 2008, 2 years before you're claiming you were released an app.
But that's the thing. No. So again, the first app I published where it was all by myself. Before that, I sent you. If you want, I can go on my background. I sent you my stuff on my blog. My story is how I started building apps. I had a blog. It was the most read blog on LinkedIn's blogging platform, Pulse. I sent you that stuff too. If you want to pull that up so people can see that. I was the #1 editor on Pulse.
What does this have to do with you being the first 100 persons?
No, let me give you the context. I'm coming to that. Okay, let me give you the context. So my blog was the first. It was the #1 read blog on LinkedIn's blogging platform, Pulse. This link was acquired for $90 million. If you want to pull that up, that would be great. Then Apple announced they were coming out with the App Store, and on this was published one of my blogs. The first apps that came out, my blog was in there. And that's after that point, I decided to make my own apps and launch my own apps. But my blog was already in the first 100 apps that were published. And then I spent a long time. I spent over a year learning how to build apps. That's when I published my first app, 2015, in October 15, which you saw, which was about Delhi Metro, which was an app that was downloaded a lot of times and became the #1 app on the App Store in India. It became the most downloaded app. This
just isn't true. You didn't say that your blog appeared in the first 100 apps. First of all, the first 100 apps never existed. It was the first 500 apps. The App Store dropped with 500 apps on it. So just that number is completely outlandish. Hold on. We can't talk over each other. We can't talk over each other. So let me talk and then you can respond. So it's the first 500 apps, okay? And then if you just appeared in a blog, your blog appeared on some app. I'm sure a lot of things appeared on the first 500 apps or 100 apps or whatever you want to say, but that's not what you said. I'm going to pull up another clip from our call where you say that you built your first app at 12. Okay, let me play that real quick for the audience.
I can prove apps I built when I was 12 years old. All this is verified, right? You can verify this.
You said, I can prove this app I built when I was 12 years old. All of this is verified. You can verify this, right? Now you're claiming you built it when you were first app when you were 15.
First iPhone app, App Store app, a web app. My blog, that's what I'm saying. My blog's web app was already live 2 years before that. My blog's web app
was already live. The App Store was the first smartphone app. My first web app was before. My first iPhone app was published later. And your question about the top 100 to 500, my app was in the top 100 apps. Yes, now there's millions of apps in the App Store, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's always this grading. So my app's in the first 100 apps that were there. These apps are not all 500 apps are not in the first 100. That's what I'm saying. I have added multiple apps which have been #1 on the App Store, and I've sent you proof of that. No.
So
listen,
I'm not denying that.
Hold on. Here's you also saying, by the way, you published your first app, like iPhone app, when you were 13.
You can go on Apple's website, App Store. You can see apps I published when I was 12, 13.
You said you can see App Store on Apple's page. You can see things I published on the App Store when I was 12, 13. You're claiming to have published an app when you're 13. I don't know how you're trying to get around this.
No, that's my mate. Okay, it's in front of you. Everything is in front of you in black and white. You've seen it. Okay, you've seen it. You've seen the apps which are in front of you, which I've done when I was 15. I'm saying it very clearly. Before that was a blog. I published, and the blog was not just any blog. It's not just any appearing in any app.
You can't publish a blog on an App Store.
It's the #1. No. It's the blog. The blog inside the app was the highest level blog. It's the top. I showed you. I sent you the proof. So my blog was the one that made the app where it is. Why it was in the top 100.
No, you said you published. You said you published your first app when you were 12 or 13.
Mate,
your first app, not you were a blog featured in an app.
Let's do this. See, this argument is not helping because the point I see is Okay, you want to say I didn't do it first when I was 12? Fine, you can believe that. You can say I was when I was 15. You want to believe that? You said you can say I built my first app when I was 15. If that makes you happy, that's fine. That's what you can believe.
But
I did this stuff 10 years ago. If you're coming me to ask and prove you today, I built over 100 apps after that. I've sent you proof of 12 apps I built when before 12 apps before I was turning 15. Right? I sent you all of that. Then I sent you a lot of proof. There's a lot. All of this. I don't know. Over 100 apps till today, buddy. It's very hard if you ask me to go back in time and tell you what happened 10 years ago. I've been involved in building so many companies. Obviously, I can't tell you the details of that time.
But
But the point,
what
the
I'm trying
facts
to
are
say
there.
is that your press is look. I think there's just an honesty problem here because you're saying one thing and then you change it and you change it and you change it. So you said you said you agree that your first app was published when you were 15 years old, right?
Pardon?
Your first app was published when you were 15, right?
First iPhone app published by myself, yes, and that
Okay.
became top 10, top in. Top, okay, let's talk the full facts, right? If you want to put me down, I would appreciate it if you talk the whole post.
No,
I
I'm
sent you
not
the
trying to put
post.
you down. I'm trying to sort out fact from fiction. That's the whole thing. Is
Okay,
I'm
let's
trying to.
talk the facts. That's fine. My app, the first app, according to you, that I've proven to you, was when I was October 15, 2010, when I was 15 years old. I've also proven to you this app was number one on the Indian App Store in 7 days of its launch. I've sent you that proof, right? It was number one in 7 days of my launch. This
Uh,
is the proof I provided. It was top three.
here's what I'm seeing though. Here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a press site that published about you saying that according to these people, you created over 30 apps that were used by millions of people before you were even 15. And that can't be true. And I'm just trying to ask you, come clean.
No, I had all these downloads, by the way, when I was 15, 16. But yes, it's true. I agree that to some part of that press release may not be true. But you have to remember, I don't control all the press. There's a lot of, and that's the problem right now. A lot of
Do you
people are
think they're making stuff up about you?
that's one of the biggest problems. There's a lot of misinformation right now. There's people making fake stuff, and there's people making a lot of fake stuff and then talking shit about it.
So
Right? So
when the Vice girl said that you were mentored by Steve Jobs and Steve Jobs was asking you how to make his app store successful, she was. Do you think she was lying or she misquoted you or something?
I'm not saying she miscoded me. I'm not saying she didn't. If you can repeat the quote in full and slowly, but I also proved to you about the Vice article. I mean, that's the article you used in your first video. I proved to you Vice paid me money. I got paid by Vice $3,000 to interview for them. So what do you want to? If you want to go into how the PR works, I can tell you a lot about how PR works. Vice paid me money to do that interview for them. I told them outright, it's going to cost me money if it's going to cost you money if you want to come and take an interview for me. At that time, when Vice interviewed me, I was on two TV shows in America. I was on Good Morning America. I had I was in already my TV show that was the first Rich Kids of Instagram TV show was seen by millions of people. It came out, so I had a lot more ego at that time. I'm not gonna deny it. So when they reached out, so they paid me for that article, and after that they went and glorified it further. I agree that article is over glorification, right? I agree that's how it looks like. But I had nothing to do with it if they went and made it look more than how it should be. I
Well,
got no role to play in that.
yeah, I just want to cover that real quick because I think it's important to know, I don't, obviously you can't control everything someone says about you, but some of these are direct quotes from you. And you say, Steve Jobs approached Evan to work out how to harness the power of the newly configured App Store. And then it says he had just built the App Store and no one was using it. He was just looking for feedback. And you said you told him it's a great platform. So is it true that Steve Jobs approached you to figure out, his App Store wasn't getting
I
downloads, it wasn't doing well?
Now how she's written it, obviously it can't be word for word like that. She has definitely over glorified it. I'm not denying that. She's obviously the piece looks like very over glorification. But yes, the fact is Steve Jobs did poll. He did ask, how is the App Store? What is your feedback? That any CEO at that time, and I can't prove the Steve Jobs poll, but I can prove the country head of Google, which is equally as big as Apple, putting me on stage when I was 17, the country head of Google in front of thousands of people, putting me on stage. If a 17-year-old can build apps Why can't you build apps? The country head of Google India, which is Google's biggest market, Google happens to be as big as Apple. I have proof for that. I don't have proof for that call, but yes, Steve Jobs did call and did ask for feedback on his app store, which is a very normal thing to do. Because if you go back in that time, this is a time when everybody was using BlackBerry.
Okay.
Right? BlackBerry was the king. Nokia was nobody. Apple became big in our generation, in yours and mine generation. So Apple was not as big before.
So his app store was struggling, and then he was looking for feedback from the people.
It was not struggling. I don't agree.
That's what the Vice article says that you said.
So, no, that's how they have quoted it. I'm not denying that they have overglorified the article, but I was paid. It was a paid gig. I'm not going to go and deny them. At that time, if somebody wrote an article and paid me $3,000 for it, I was happy. I said, okay.
So the thing is this. I thought you might say that Millie McCone, who's the writer of this piece, it basically changed the words or she overblew it. But so I reached out to Millie, the writer of the piece, and I asked, did Evan say these things? He's maybe alleging that maybe he didn't say these things. Because yesterday you were telling me Steve Jobs didn't mentor you, and she said you did. You said that he did. Now you're saying he did. But this is what she said, just for everybody. She said, everything committed to print is verified by you and recorded to audio by myself and transcribed by Vice. So according to her, I mean, again, this comes to who's lying here, because there are two stories being told. It's Steve Jobs is calling you, asking how to make the App Store better, which you have no proof of. And the App Store, by the way, just for everyone who is knowing, it was an instant success. There's nothing struggling about it. It had 10 million application downloads in 3 days. And he said, I'm quoting Steve Jobs here, the App Store is a grand slam, is what he said. So the App Store was never struggling. And also combining that with the fact that you didn't publish your first app until you were 15. And so the App Store had been around for 2 years. So why is Steve Jobs calling for feedback
I agree.
On an App Store that's 2 years later?
Let's ask Wise to provide where I said it was struggling. I don't think I would have said that too. So let's ask Wise to provide that clip where they said I was struggling. If you're already in touch with them, why don't you ask them to provide that? Let's ask them.
I mean, I
can
try. I can't do it right now.
Let's ask them.
Yeah, no, I'll ask away. But the point is consistently you're kind of saying, "Oh, this isn't right about me. This isn't right." When the story is falling apart, where you built an app when you were 13. No, wait, it wasn't an app. It was my blog within an app. But actually, I was the first 100 downloads. Wait, no, there was 500 downloads. Right? It's like what I'm trying to get at is we've got to separate fact from fiction here. Your whole brand is built on being honest and building this trust with the people who are looking at your lifestyle. There are people claiming that you're fake, but it's up to you to prove that you're not and say these things that I said I actually did. Let's go on that point you just said. There's people claiming I'm fake. The only people who are claiming that are trolls and anonymous page. You're the first guy who ever stood up, and I confronted you. Before you, the only people who ever said anything is behind an anonymous page. And there's one guy who stood up, and that's because I sent you proof. He owes me a bunch of money. And there is nobody who's before you publicly, somebody of some influence who has got up and said something. It's always anonymous people, always fake profiles on the internet, and always trolls. People who have followed that troll pages and follow trolls. I have had multiple big companies wet me and give me honors. Do you do actual vetting, actual verification, give me honors and verify stuff? See, I'm not denying there's a lot of misinformation around things, and I'm not denying I may have said something about 10 years ago, stuff that happened 10 years ago. And you have to remember, there's a lot of content in my life. There is a lot of content. I have done so much stuff that there's so much stuff in the past that I have to pull up now. I was telling you about right now an app I made about MIT. I was telling you I couldn't find it because I couldn't find the location right now, but I did. I built over 100 apps, and I have equities and shares in over 50 plus apps that I told you can verify almost online. All the companies you asked me, I sent you proof. Think about it. How does one person? Here's the thing about the press thing. You're talking. I want to bring up the press idea because that's the problem. Is you're paying for press, and so the reality of the 21st century, and something I've been trying to tell my subscribers, is that the appearance of success, I think you'll even agree with this, can be bought. You can just buy the appearance of success. You don't have to actually be successful.
I agree with you 100%. If you have the right resources and the right connections, you can buy the appearance of success. I can agree
Right.
with
And
that. See,
so
it's very easy to manipulate people today online. If that's what you're trying to get to, is that if you can manipulate people, it's very, very easy to manipulate people online today. You can create news which does not exist, and most people will believe that. People believe what they read. They do not check the source of information where it's coming from.
news,
So yes,
but news like, you created 30 apps before you were 15 years old because you hadn't created any apps before you were 15. My problem is it looks like you're trying to build up the appearance of being like a tech savant from the time you were young, when the reality is much more normal and what you'd expect. You know what I mean? And it seems like all of the mistakes and
no, but
you
you see, I'm not
misunderstood.
building
Hold
it up.
hold on. All the mistakes are all end up serving you. I mean, like the whole thing of, it was just a confusion, man. I wasn't actually mentored by Steve Jobs. I just said I was, but I meant it in a different way. That's only serves your public profile. It's all to serve you.
Yeah, but
I built 100 apps by the time or 30 apps by the time I was 15.
No.
That
See,
serves
it's not
you,
to
but
serve
it's not
me.
true.
It's not to serve me. Okay, let's go to the example where the country head of Google India pulled me up on stage, right? He used me as a tool. It served Google. Let's be very clear. It served Google. Why do you think he put me? There were thousands of people in the audience, right? Why do you think he chose me to use an example to get people to build? This was a Google's technical event. They had thousands of developers coming there, and it was all about building apps for Android.
I'll tell you why.
So why do you think? Because he thought he could use me as a tool, and it would be great for him. And why do you? Okay, Vice. Let's go to the Vice article. They paid me. Remember, I didn't pay them. This is in 2016. They paid me. And okay, you want to go deeper into the Vice context? This article was written for Vice motherboard. It was paid for UBS. UBS is the end customer for whom this content was going. UBS is a private credit Swiss, very big bank for mostly very wealthy individuals. For them, this idea using this content, there's a piece that was a parallel piece that went with it. They were serving themselves. Let's be very clear about them. They were being paid by UBS to create such kind of content for UBS readers, out of which I was paid $3,000 to come and interview me because they thought that was interesting for their readers.
But this doesn't get around.
So, but yes, it serves me too.
It
serves both sides.
But none of it's getting around like just lies. I mean, at a certain point, you can say Steve Jobs is a mentor all you want, but when the only proof you have is one call that it doesn't seem like ever happened because you didn't start with the App Store.
It's fine. See, I've always said it. If somebody wants to go into the details of what I meant by the mentorship, like I've said it right in the open, right? I've never denied that. I've always said for me, it always was one call. So if somebody wants to go into the details, that's fine. They can ask.
No. But it's all about appearance. And this is where I want to go to the doctorate thing. The doctor, right? Dr. Evan Luthra. I mean, come on, man. That's kind of a joke. And it goes back to the thing of if anyone asks, you'll say, yeah, it's honorary, but you're trying to take credit and be seen as an expert when you're not one.
No, but I am an expert in the space of blockchain. I've spoken at 50 plus blockchain events in 2017.
So what? You donate to these events. Of course you're going to speak at them.
No, I have been paid by a lot of these events to speak at them. Like I said, it's 2 things. I've been paid by a lot of events. I sponsor. I don't donate. No, I'm not donating anywhere free money. I always sponsor them because I get coverage. One of my companies sponsors them. But yes, I mean, I have built a lot of companies in the blockchain space. I sent you the AngelList company, Swole, that went on to raise $100 million plus. I did most of the marketing for India. I've been involved in launching a lot of crypto companies and directly running with the PhD. It was because I opened the world's first blockchain center. First one I opened in New Delhi, India. Then I opened one in Dominican Republic. Then we helped work with one. We opened one in Zurich where I had only 5% shareholding. I'm telling it openly. The Zurich one, I was just a partner. But the PhD was it's very common. I didn't invent this. It's been happening for hundreds of years. People donate buildings in the U.S. and they get a building named after them and they get an honorary doctorate. Here, you donate a small room and you open a blockchain center. It's the same thing.
But
so what is wrong in that?
Nobody who gets an honorary doctorate calls themselves doctor.
I know a lot of people in India who do that. Maybe it's different in your side of the world. But I know a lot of people who have honorary doctorates in India and they have the word doctor in front of them. So, see,
don't you think that it's disrespectful to the people who spent 7, 8, 10 years of their life studying something to come in with a little bit of money, fund a little center, which has nothing to do with actually knowing anything about blockchain, and then just claiming you have an honorary doctorate in blockchain, which you say you have a PhD. It's a doctorate, though, which is not the same thing.
Yeah. No, see, you could consider it an insult if somebody would want to take it like that. I agree. Maybe somebody doesn't like it, but that shouldn't stop me from. I did not break any rules, or it's not illegal to if you get an honorary doctorate, you can't put the word doctor. That's how it's done here. So
it's not illegal, but again, this goes back to the idea that it just furthers the idea that you're trying to make yourself seem like something that you're not.
For me, I don't have any kind of degree. I didn't go to university, so for me, this is better. Like it's great for me to feel that way. I didn't go to university, so I don't have any kind of
But
degree.
Don't make it seem like you did. Don't make it seem like you got the highest education.
I know, but I give speeches all the time. I tell people I dropped out. The first thing in my speech is always I'm a dropout, and then I say I have an honorary doctorate.
Listen, but the problem is you don't always say you have an honorary doctorate, and you're throwing this doctor in front of your name, which you don't deserve. You've never earned. You've never earned it.
I've earned it. That's the point I'm coming to. Yes, to you maybe it's not okay. That's your point, and I'm willing to listen to your point. I'm not denying that. You think I've not earned it, that's fine. But I do believe that I've done enough in the blockchain space to deserve that. I do believe that. I was very early in the blockchain space. Also, I bought my first Bitcoin in 2012. I have been involved in growing a lot of companies in the blockchain space from very early on, and I think it's a fit moniker. So I don't think why I cannot have it. I mean, I told you the example when we had this chat yesterday that you can even buy the title Lord, right? You can buy the title Lord. If you buy a 5 square feet by 5 square feet piece of land in Scotland, by tradition, you're meant to have a title Lord. So this is again a circumvent way around what's been said. Now, if I had an ability in life,
but do you understand how this can come off like a poser or like somebody's trying to buy the image of success instead of actually being successful?
Let me just finish what I was coming to.
Sure.
Why I bought that Lord title? Very simple. I do 120 flights every year. Now I get better service at airports. So if I found a way in life to get a better service and move ahead, and I used that way, and I feel it's still okay and it's acceptable.
Well, wait,
and I feel if somebody else
get treated better as what?
If you have the title Lord in front of your name, then hotels and airports, they treat you better. They would because they see in your bookings you can use that title.
So you call yourself Lord Evan Luthra?
In some of the bookings where I'm going, I would use the title because I legally bought a piece of land in Scotland, and it allows me to use that. It's a life hack that I found and I use to my benefit. Nobody's telling you these things doesn't mean you can't use them. This is what I've learned in my life. I think it's a great way. I think if somebody else can get that, go for it.
I think though that you have to understand that people are gonna call you a faker. I'm looking at one of your things from I think this is your Angel Co, or it's one of your listings, your profiles, where you have Evan Luthra, entrepreneur, investor, 24, PhD. The best way to predict the future is to build it. Nothing about it being honorary, buddy. I mean, that's lying.
Maybe in a lot of these profiles are not made by me. There's a team working behind it. See, again, I've said openly there's an honorary doctorate. I'm telling you, I agree there would be some people who would be in. Like I said to you, most people don't read the details. They don't
But you're not putting it in the details. Your Instagram, Dr. Evan Singh Luthra.
I can't put everything everywhere.
I
can't put everything. There's no limit to. I have to remove something else to put it. There's no limit to.
Do you know
use the word honorary?
Do you know what a Purple Heart is?
I do not know what that is.
Okay, it's one of the highest awards when you are in the Army here and you get injured, and they give you a Purple Heart in battle, right? It's this really prestigious award that is like really respected, right? Let's say I'm in the Army, I'm sitting at a desk job, and I get a paper cut. I don't have a Purple Heart because I got a paper cut working for the Army, right? The award means something. It implies sacrifice. It actually has a level of respect given to it because of the exclusivity of the thing. And you're sort of stomping all over that and saying, oh, yeah, it's fine because it's technically
No,
not illegal. Well, it's also
but listen,
technically a douchebag
No,
move,
but
and you
you're
can't be
talking
mad
about-
when
I'm
people
talking-
say it.
No, but you're talking about an honorary Purple Heart. It's in my LinkedIn. It says honorary. It's on my website. It says honorary. Things which I control, my website, it says honorary. Things which are LinkedIn, it says honorary. I can't put honorary in my Instagram because it doesn't have that much space. I would put it if I had that space. I don't have.
You
I don't
have
wanna put
space
more
to
stuff.
say, the best way to predict the future is
Yes,
to build
those
it.
things are more important to me. If somebody wants to do the research, click the link
Then
and
being
one
honest?
tap and you open my website and it says the first paragraph. So I mean, again, I believe I got it and I have a right to do it. It's not me who invented the concept of honorary Purple Heart. I didn't invent that. Before me, there's been thousands of people, probably tens of thousands of people who have had honorary Purple Hearts, and I am 10,001 in line. And if I'm using it, and again, it's in your culture. I know a lot of people who put it in front of them, doctor, even though they have honorary
I've
PhD.
never
and I've
seen
learned
that.
from that.
And I would call them.
Maybe
I
it's
would
in
tell
your
them
culture.
it's just as dumb as I'm telling you right now. I'm just telling you honestly. Just
Wait,
like,
I mean, see,
from
what,
externally.
a lot of what Americans are doing is called dumb by people outside of America right now.
I'm just telling
not
from
go there.
a third party perspective. You should
Yes,
stop doing that
that
because it's just
No.
embarrassing. When people actually find
Okay.
out, it's embarrassing.
Okay, let's do this. I agree what you're saying. I'll go halfway through. I'll remove the doctor from Instagram because it's not clear in full. Like I said, I'm open to the criticism.
Now drop
but
the doctor altogether. You're not a doctor. You have no expertise in blockchain. You've never done a paper. You've never
I
researched
have an
blockchain.
honorary PhD in blockchain. I don't claim I'm an expert in blockchain. I claim I'm an honorary PhD in blockchain.
I wish we could rewind
And
this 15 seconds ago when you said you are an expert in blockchain.
Yes, and I've proven the things I've done. So it's been said by a lot of people. I agree with that part too. But I believe if I'm claiming it's an honorary PhD, when I go to blockchain events everywhere, I would be okay. I think I would be happy to claim it's an honorary PhD. I write that in the events in the bios.
So it's sort of like
that should be fine.
You're an expert, but you're not an expert, is what I'm hearing.
No, so let's agree with you. What do you think? I shouldn't be allowed to claim honorary PhD? That should be okay according to you. If it says honorary, that's a concept. I should be allowed to claim
First of all,
that.
I think it says honorary doctorate, but it doesn't mean you can
Honorary
say
doctorate.
doctor. And anytime you ever use the word doctorate or anything, honorary goes before it. I don't care if you don't have enough characters. Don't put it, buddy. But also, it's just not a thing that you really like stand on. It's kind of a weird. I'm just telling you how it looks from the outside. I don't want to stay on this topic kind of forever because I don't think it's super important. But I just wanted to tell you that it's just insulting to everyone who's actually done the work. Right? That's what it is. You might see it as a life hack, but it's insulting.
I mean, we'll agree to disagree there. So let's leave it there. I will take your feedback and I will remove it from the Instagram. The doctor, I will remove that if you feel that's the way. But I'll leave it honorary, and I'll try to be a better person today onwards from you. There you go.
Okay, fair enough. So let's see here. There's also the story of, so one thing I want to talk about now is now that we've established sort of why there's some hate around you. It's because there are holes in your story, right? There's things that don't make sense. There are things that are actually not true here, not true there. So now let's move on to sort of your business, right? What you're in the business of, and talk about that because I think it's really important. You know, I wouldn't care if you're saying these things, but you're not taking investments, things like that. But you're building yourself up, and then you're taking investments from people. So you have a company called Startup. Sorry, I don't want to get this wrong. Startup School.
Startup Studio.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a few questions about that, and I first want to get into like the allegations made against you, and let me finish, and then you can jump in and maybe correct whatever. So, 3 people came to me and said that you took significant amounts of money from them. And the idea was you're going to build an app for them, okay? Just for everyone listening at home. And you are going to both build the app and invest a significant amount of money into their company, okay? And they allege that you basically overcharged them and took the money they were making. You didn't tell them that you were going to build a bad app in India and not spend much money. And they were expecting a lot more, and they got a bad product delivered. So I think one of them lost $80,000. One of them lost $170,000, and I think he might have gone temporarily homeless. I mean, it was pretty serious. and then another one lost like $100,000 or something. I don't have these factors completely right, okay? But they gave you all this money under the idea that you're going to build an app, and then basically they got sort of subpar apps out of it. And I sort of wanted to ask you about that because in light of sort of these, I don't want you, if you want to call them lies or half-truths about your experience in this space, what do you think, what are your responses to those people? And then I want to talk about like why you only get 20% of their investment if you're investing so much money. So you want to respond real quick?
Yes, sure. Very happy to go into details about this. Now, there's three people, the model you talked about. There's three people that you have talked to. And I sent you 6 case studies of people that have all been very happy. You read their recommendations. I told you can contact them. I sent you all the proof before. I built apps with over 50 different co-founders today where I've had partnerships with people where they come to me with an idea. If I like the idea, I invest significant part of the app, and then they invest. I ask them to invest a lot less. I invest 4 to 5 times the money they invest, and ask them to invest a lot less because I need to have them skin in the game. For me, it's more about they're committed. I've already proven to you investments that I hold, just 2 investments that you have seen off AngelList are worth over $10 million. Just the ease investment, one single investment that you can verify that I was AngelList, and the hash.
I wasn't able to verify that.
I sent you the angel.co link. It says via AngelList. That proves you the money was sent to AngelList. They sent to Ease.
I don't know how much you invested.
I sent you the doc.
I don't know how much you invested in Ease. Maybe I couldn't find
it.
Okay,
but you verified that I was the investor. You didn't verify the amount. You verified that I was the investor.
No, you said you invested with Fresh VC, and I can't verify.
Yes, which is the.
Okay.
That's the fund. I sent you. Okay, I'm happy to send you that stuff. It's all there. Those stuff's verifiable.
Okay.
Companies. I have invested in companies which have shares worth tens of millions of dollars. I don't need to scam somebody for $300,000 right now. I don't need to do that. These guys failed because these guys failed because their companies failed because of them. I've had a lot of success to show. I have partners who I built apps with. They've invested money in the app. I've invested money in the app. The same kind of deals with these 10, 20 people more, 30 people more than these 3 people. And a lot of them have had good success and great success. A lot of them have failed. That's understandable. And they still have good things to say about me because they realize why the app failed.
But here's the part that I don't understand. Here's the part that I don't understand, okay? And I want everyone to get this real quick. Okay, so these people come to you, and a lot of times they're not like super old. Like I know one of them was like 16 or 17 when he approaches you, right? A kid with an idea, okay? And he tells you about this idea. He has nothing, okay? And this is your business model. It makes no sense. You say, hey, you give me 20% of your company and I'll invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into this app that doesn't exist. I'll invest 4 times what you are investing. So this guy invested like 100,000, whatever he invested, and you claim to invest.
No, you're looking at it.
You claim to invest. Hold on. You claim to invest $500,000 for 20% of a kid's company. That makes no sense.
That's normal.
No.
That's normal.
Okay.
That's how the. If I take a big part of their company, think of it from my perspective, right? If I end up taking 80% of their company and giving them 20%, then they have no reason to keep working to make that company big. Because they have multiple rounds of investment. There's Series seed rounds, and there's Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D. They will keep losing equity along.
Evan,
I've invested in companies which have no product.
You're talking about a company that really did not exist at all. I mean, it was just an idea.
Yes, but this is very
literally just an idea with no cash flow, no revenue.
This is my business model. I diversify hundreds of investments, and then I wait for that moonshot, like Ease, like Hashgraph, which give me 100x. That's the business model. You invest in a lot of companies, and then you wait for the companies to grow. Because in startups, these are facts. 95% of companies will fail. That's obvious.
Right. You got to let me talk, though. You got to let me talk because the devil's in the details here, right? Because what they're claiming is that they put in $100,000, $90,000, and their app only actually cost $90,000.
Okay, listen, you're claiming about 3 people.
Hold on. Let me speak, okay? Because we can't talk over each other. We won't get anywhere. So
I agree,
100%. 20%. They're investing like $90,000, and a lot of apps cost about that range. And then you take 20% of the company. But on top of that, you're claiming to have invested $500,000 into their company. Okay. You're claiming to invest $500,000 for 20% of a company that doesn't really exist without you doing all the work. You're doing all the work. You're investing.
I'm not doing all the work.
Four times the money, right? All they have is the idea. And then you're claiming to only get 20%. It doesn't add up. It makes no sense.
Okay.
From my perspective.
Let me go answer you one by one. Let me go answer your questions one by one.
Sure.
All the points, because you already made 3 points, right? The first thing is, I'm not doing most of the work. I'm doing very little work. My money is doing a lot of the work for me. My people. I have hundreds of developers working. They're building the app. Remember, there's people building the app. They build the app. And then it's the responsibility of the founder to run the app. And these 3 guys' companies failed because they were unable to do that. Not once. If my app had failed, this Noah guy would not have come back to me for a second app. He had a second app. He came back to me for a second app. I made a new deal with him. I loaned him money.
Let me complete.
I'm going to come to all your points. He came back to me for a second app. If I was doing bad quality app to him, he would have not come back for a second app. And he got me into a similar agreement again, in which he didn't pay me. He did a loan. So I invested full amount. And he's a young guy. That's why I need him to co-invest, because I need him to have skin in the game. If he's not co-investing, tomorrow he walks away. So he came back for a second app with me, brought back into an agreement, a second agreement. He went back inside and notarized. And I sent you that agreement. That's my other point. If these guys at any point, they could have gone to the code. They never went to code. Okay, and now the point about how you claim the app was $90,000. That's not how it works. It costs $50,000 to buy a car. Yeah, but you can buy a Rolls Royce for $500,000, or you can buy a Toyota Prius for $20,000. It depends what you're buying. And you talk to 3 people who talk shit because they owe me money on contract. That's the reason. I give you numbers of 6 people. I give you case studies. I give you recommendations. I told you to go and ask. I told you to do your research and talk to all these people I've built apps with, and I'm building apps with right now. What is their experience? And you already know, you've seen that my apps were top 3 apps before, featured by Apple. So the cost of my app, now again, these people knew what was the deal. They knew the terms from the first day. It was a contract they signed with it that says, this is how much the app is going to cost. Do you agree or do you not agree? And this is how much it's going to cost. This is how much I'm going to put in. And this, you don't go to Rolls Royce later and tell them, yo, your car should not cost us $500, it should cost us $400,000. Give me $100,000 back. That's not how business is done. It was I've had partners who are 45 years old running for presidential campaigns. I've had partners like Noah who were 17 years old. Noah had a great idea. He had a very big vision, and I fell for that vision. But he's delusional. I mean, it's on that level.
Again though, it's not making any sense. You're taking a 17-year-old kid, and you're investing. While this kid has $100,000 in the app, you're investing, I think, $500,000 for 20% of a company, and then your company, whether you want to say you did the work or your company did the work, your company is doing most of the work for 20% of the company. I don't think so. It doesn't make sense when the math doesn't add up. Something's wrong.
No.
Right?
No. But you're not counting. No, you're not. I'm not doing any of the work. The work is to run the app. Buddy, if it's about building apps, I could build 100 apps myself without needing partners. I need those partners to run the company. And I'm happy they keep 80% for that, because out of 10, 1 works, they give me 100x. Out of 20, 1 works, they give me 100x. That's how startup investments work. Look at why do you think 10 years ago, the 5 biggest companies in the world, 10, 15 years ago, were all oil companies around 2005, right? And 5 biggest companies in the US were all oil companies.
I feel like we're going off track here. I feel like we're going off track.
Okay, no, I'm not going off track. I'm giving you why technology is the fastest growing industry in the world.
But that's off track.
Technology.
Let
me come to my point. No, you need to understand how my business model works to comment on my business model. Okay. You don't understand it yet.
Okay.
You don't, because that's what I'm saying. People come to me with ideas. No, you do not. People come to me with ideas related to technology. If I like the idea, I say I'm investing in it and I build it for them. But it's their job to run the business. If they manage to successfully run the business, my ROI is 100x because I was there very early on. But majority of these people will fail. That's understood because that's how startup investments work. Majority of the startups do fail. But the ones which work, that's why we have the Airbnbs. That's why we have the Twitters. That's why we have the Eases. That's why we have the Facebooks. They work. They give you crazy returns. If you invested in Uber seed round
Hold on. We're
$25,000.
We're really going off track.
$250 million.
Let me say what I think's going on. Okay. And I'll tell you what I think's going on.
But you should have a good source of knowledge. I'm open to listen to you, but like I said before, verify your information before making allegations. Check your source. So I'm happy to listen to you. That's what I told you.
I'm just explaining. This is just logic, right? This is just logic, right? Logically, it doesn't make sense to go to a kid who has money. He ends up paying you.
Doesn't make sense if you do it to one kid. If you do it to one kid, doesn't make sense. If you know the numbers are out of 100 kids, 5 kids will guarantee go 100x, and you make 500 times your money, even if you give the money to 100 kids, and it's not always 100 kids. And Noah was no joke. If he had 100,000 at that time lying around, he claims right now online he made $42 million.
The problem is
I believed in him.
Hold on, Evan.
Most of my partners are running for president. Okay, I have partners who are running for presidential elections. I have partners who are very, very successful, have very good businesses. I sent you case studies. You did not do your time to go through them. I sent you content. So you read the case studies. You saw some of my partners, right?
Yes.
There's guys who are 40 years old, IITians, studying some of the biggest universities. And they build good apps. I build the apps. My company build the apps, not me. My company build the apps. I went on to raise further funding. My model worked great. I got a great return on it. But the model only works if you diversify, if you have enough investment.
I don't think any serious investor will look at this and say it makes sense to give a 4 times investment on what the take an idea that really doesn't exist yet, that's really just an app idea, invest 4 times what the founder's investing, and then only get 20% as you build the app for them. I don't think that makes sense, but we're going to have to leave it there because ultimately it's
exactly. It's working great for me. The model works.
Well, you say it is, but it's like we don't actually know if you're successful because we don't know how much money you've lost. We don't know how much of this money is your dad's money. I mean, the whole problem is you've bought a lot of claims that a lot of them have turned out to be true. So what's our reason to believe anything you say? You call yourself a doctor. You're not really a doctor.
No, it's up. I said again, it's on my website and my LinkedIn says honorary doctorate. It's again, see, the point is up to you what you want to believe. It's up to you. You want to do the research? It's all there. Do your research. Talk to Noah. See his company failed. Why it failed. Why has he now gone to court? Why has none of these 3 people ever went to court? If I lost them the money, there's paperwork, there's agreements. Why are they hiding behind anonymous troll
Because
pages?
It's hard to sue people in India? And they probably don't have a lot of money? And you do have a lot of money?
The company, I have companies in the U.S., my friend. They signed a contract with the U.S. entity.
Yeah, but your contract says that the arbitration clause is in India.
So they can fight it in India. They could sue me in the U.S. even if they wanted to.
But don't lie because your contract says that they have to fight it in India. So they can't sue you in India because everyone knows, good luck getting that off the ground. I said, these people are cash strained.
Okay.
So what recourse do they really have, right? That's the problem. That's why I don't like when people take people's money who are struggling and sell them the idea, the vision.
But the point is, I sent you a contract, mate, which clearly says he owes me $200,000 today after interest. Noah owes me that money.
I'm not talking about Noah.
Anyways, anybody, if they wanted to come after me for the money, they could legally come, but they have no right.
But they're broke. Okay. They're broke, and they have to go to India. Good luck. You set it up well. You set it up well. I got to admit.
Examples. You picked up 3 examples. I told you one. No, I sent you a contract that's verified by Swiss notaries that he owes me money. Second, Miguel, he came after me legally. His legal team came after me, sent me a notice. I sent them the notice. His own legal team left him. His legal team left him because they knew everything he was saying was bullshit.
That's not true. I've talked to this guy. He goes, I was broke.
Ask him
he goes, I was broke. I couldn't pay for any more hours on my lawyer.
How do you believe him? How do you believe him and not believe me? Mate, I'm giving you
because you have a track record of lying here. We've established the track record.
He has that too. How does he not have that? I'm telling you. Okay.
As I said at the beginning, it's a matter of credibility. It's a matter of credibility. And when you're coming to me saying you're mentored by Steve Jobs, you lose a lot of credibility.
Miguel, let's not leave this point. You booked up 3 people who said bad things about me, about my deals, right? 2 of them, one of them owes me money legally. The other one tried to come after me legally. His lawyers left him.
He's broke.
The third one,
he's broke.
No, but he had the money to pay the lawyer. That's why he came after. He paid the money to the lawyer. The lawyers didn't work for him. I don't know if they worked for him for free. He sent me a notice asking for money back and coming up with all these bullshit claims that this attorney did this, did that. And once I sent him the responses with the contracts, there was no hearing back. And this was over a year ago, actually. So the third guy, Petri, I had a chat with him. I never knew that he was saying bad things about me until you told me yesterday. You're the first person you told me. So I talked to him yesterday and asked him. He's discontent, and I think Petri still has a chance to make the app work. So I'm still going to talk to him. But I maintain these apps failed because of my partners not putting in, not because of me. If these apps were successful, Miguel would be buying me a yacht today, or would be buying me a fucking jet. That's how it would be. Obviously, his app didn't work out, and he's putting the blame on me. I have more failures than I had.
But you built the app.
Yeah, but I'm not responsible to run it. It was approved by Apple. It was working fine.
Yeah, but
and it
you
was
can
approved
dump
by Apple.
any crappy app that gets approved by Apple. Doesn't mean it's the Rolls Royce you're saying it is.
If I was building shitty apps, I wouldn't have had the previous success I had. You already know I wouldn't have the previous success I had. My apps wouldn't be that good. See, this is again, we can't come to a discussion.
What's sort of the no? Because I don't want to argue the whole time.
Yeah, we can't argue.
Let's move on. Let's move on to another topic. Okay. What do you think? What is the biggest app that you've ever personally built that like we would know?
That the most downloads purely based on most downloads, if you consider, would be the ICC Cricket World Cup app I built. And it had millions and millions of downloads, but I got sued by ICC. It was removed in 15 days. I had to transfer the whole code base to ICC over because I used the logo without knowing that I had no rights to use the logo. The app before it was taken over by ICC. Now this was actually a big case. When I was 16 years old, I had a very big learning experience. I used the logo of ICC Cricket World Cup and launched an app for the World Cup without their permission. But before they took over the app from me, it already had millions of downloads, and it was very, very high. It was the #1 app in Australia, in Pakistan, in India, in the UK.
Because you're leveraging someone else's fame and then just making a quick app on it. Of course, it's going to get
so that's fine. I'm not saying
of downloads, but that doesn't mean it's a successful or interesting app. It just means it has a lot of downloads, and it was a free app.
But it was It was a free app. It was people could see the scores. They could follow the live World Cup that was happening. It was providing value. I had more apps than the ICC normal app, the official app. That's why they sued me. They let me go without paying them any money because I was 16. I gave them all the users. I gave them everything. And this is a model that's how I got a lot of my early success. I built a lot. You saw that. I sent you. I built app for 2.5 Men, the TV show. I built an app for Gossip Girl, the TV show. I built an app where the communities could come and engage. These apps got hundreds of thousands of downloads and they became #1 top 3 apps.
Why on all the screenshots that you sent me? I mean, like they say, they're the top free app. I do see that on the like different categories. But the problem is that they have no ratings. Why don't they have any ratings in these screenshots?
Because these screenshots came in the first 2-3 days when I published the app. And that's what I'm saying. At that time, the apps shot up to the top downloads. And there were no ratings that were posted in that time. Usually, you have to wait before the ratings show up. But they are there. You want to verify this? I sent you the proof. You can call up Apple and verify. You can reach out to them. Best proof is there for you. I'm not denying that. That proof is there. Those apps, Gossip Girl, 2.5 Men. I made for a few Lie to Me, a few more TV shows I made at that time. That's what I'm saying. It's so back in the past. And all of these apps became the top in their category and hundreds of thousands of downloads.
Okay, we don't have any verifications on hundreds of thousands. All we have is screenshots that say no ratings. They are at the top.
No, but you have screenshots for
the top, of course, but there's no ratings, so I don't really know I don't know what to make of that, honestly.
Okay, let's do this. You go and verify this from Apple. That's on you. If you want to make an allegation, it's not there.
I was trying to look at the App Store. I was looking up Evan Luthra Industries. I couldn't find anything.
No, this is 2015. This is not there anymore. This is 2015. You're going to have to reach out to Apple and ask them. I told you, this is 2015. I haven't built an app since I was 18 myself. I haven't written a single line of code. Since I was 18. So that's why I asked you when you said app that I have built would be back in the past. Now I don't build myself. I have developers building for me.
Okay, let me be clear then. What app has your company built that we would all know?
Okay, so now you have talked about, I want to plug some of the apps that we have been recently involved in, which are very nice.
I don't want plugs. No plugs. Sorry, buddy.
Okay, go check out GameFarm. It's great for your audience. You can download games. It's US based app where you can download games and play games, and you can bet money and you win real money on the games. It's called GameForm, GameForm. You can download on the App Store. Let me see what
again, we don't need the plug. Just the name is fine. Thank you very much. Jesus.
App that that I would think where my company has built, would you say that I've invested in it also, or I've not invested money in it?
No, you built, because the quality of your apps that you build, you're
okay.
allegedly
So if
they're
you
not
want to talk
quality.
about building, no. So then we have built a lot of high quality apps. We have built up for Fortune 500 companies, which I sent you, hospitals.
Okay.
We have built for banks.
I was
Citibank.
looking for just one name. Maybe that game form is the only name.
Okay.
That's fine.
Citibank. We designed Citibank's app. There you go. That would be my biggest. That should be the biggest well-known brand name that has worked with me.
Okay, we'll have to look
I would
that
even
up later.
say, yeah, I'm happy to give you the proof for that too.
Sure.
And even Google, there you go. Even Google is on stage. I built the app for Google's event. There you go. That's also there. It's a pretty big name.
So
they think my apps are good enough, and they still think it's good enough.
Real quick,
and these three guys, let's finish this off. They think my apps are good enough, and they still think my app good enough, and I still have companies paying me, and I'm happy to show you those documents. You refuse to sign the NDA. I sent you 5 messages. Can you sign the NDA? You said you don't want to see it. I'll send you the contract. I sent you a bunch of contracts already.
I'm not going to sign an NDA as we're about to go live on a show where I have to bring up evidence.
But if you want me to show you proof
Isn't it convenient that the proof is behind an NDA? I mean,
because I am in contracts with a lot of people. I can't. No. It's obviously I can't show.
Okay.
And mate, I don't know how many $1 million deals you have signed. I sent you a few already.
I haven't done too many $1 million deals. That's true.
No, I've done a lot of them, and I sent you some before without NDAs, with numbers to verify. And I can send you bank statements.
But
and there are confidentiality clauses. There are confidentiality clauses where you cannot reveal something without putting the party who acquired that party thing.
Are these honorary $1 million deals or the real $1 million deals?
I have given you numbers. I have received millions of dollars of deals just in the last 1 month, 30 days.
Okay.
Separate $1 million transactions or exit. I've given you numbers. You can verify that. I gave you the numbers, and you should have done it before you got on the call.
Let's
you can
talk
still do
about
it live if you want.
Let's talk about speaking of $1 million deals. Let's talk about coronavirus, right? Coronavirus is a kind of hot topic right now, and there's a lot of word about fake stuff getting sent out and getting proposed to be like that. People pretend it's real and sell it as real, but it's actually not real. It's not legit, and they're saying it is, right? And so you've been affiliated with you've told me, I want to be clear to the audience right now. Evan does not manufacture any kind of PPE, anything like that, but he does sell it like as a third party, like I guess intermediary, I think you'd call yourself.
It's trading. It's
right.
Brokering, trading.
Correct. Okay. And you've sent out like brochures based on those things to get people interested and stuff like that. And I want to bring one of these things to your attention because I was looking up, one of the important things when you're selling coronavirus stuff is it has to be legit. Like that's the most
exactly. It has to be certified. If you sell something that's not certified, it's not a civil offense. It's a criminal offense. You can go to jail for that.
Right.
If you sell a medical item, if you sell a mask, right, and you say it's a coronavirus mask, and somebody wears it and they die, and you the seller, I go into trouble. So I'm not stupid trying to go into trouble for basic masks when I've shown you I'm making millions of dollars.
Right.
From the same stuff.
So that's really what I want to talk about today, because I want to talk about these tests. So there's a brochure on your coronavirus testing kit 2 that was part of Adra Health Tech, where it was FDA certified. I'm going to pull that up for everybody right now. FDA certified right there. Boom. Their certificate of registration, yada, yada. The problem with that, though, is that it's fake. That's a fake testing kit certification. It's a fake testing kit certification. I'm going to link it in chat real quick for everybody who wants. Don't click off the stream, you guys, but check that out. It's a fake certification. It actually is from a mask supplier. So this is a fake screenshot pretending to be certifying a test kit that is actually straight off of a mask from China. So they took a mask FDA certification and pretended that their coronavirus test was real. Can you agree? So can you agree that that is a scumbag thing to do in a time of crisis?
Okay, if there was something sold or somebody bought something in the first place, that would be a scumbag thing to do. I give you proof. I was always a consultant for Adra Health Tech. I sent you that before. You asked me, We never sold any testing kits. I told you that before. We never sold. We marketed it. If somebody's sending us certificates, remember, we don't manufacture. The way these deals work, you've not been involved in any deal. Let me tell you how these deals work, and for everybody else watching.
Enlighten me. Yeah.
No, listen. You guys not been involved. So you're commenting without knowing,
Right.
and that's irresponsible. So let me educate you because I have experience. I've done these deals.
You have a PhD.
Millions
Educate
of
us.
dollars. So yeah, exactly. And you didn't want you want to pick the PhD points. You failed to call any of the people I sent you the numbers to verify that I sold them millions of masks and stuff in time of their need. You failed to do that. Okay, let me
I made some calls. Nobody answered, but that's just a separate thing.
Okay, so you never told me that. I asked you many times. You never told me that. Okay, I would have put you in calls right away. Anyways, how these deals work? We get content from the manufacturer. This is our stuff. This is our certificates. You wanna? Then we put them in presentation. Now this me not doing this. This team's doing this. I get the brochures. I send it forward. Once the buyer agrees he likes something, then they do the verifications. At that point, I'm dealing with hundreds of brokers daily. You realize there's hundreds of brokers every other day I'm talking to source this stuff. They're sending me stuff. We put that in a brochure. We send it forward. Once a deal happens at that step, the verification is done. I've had lots of deals fall apart because brokers send fake certificates. That's happened with me many, many times. And that's normal. That's how these deals happen. No deal happens. No buyer is paying millions of dollars without verifying the stuff that he's buying, without verifying the kits. No buyer is doing that. If any buyer is doing that, that's on him. I'm a broker. I get paid a commission. I don't manufacture any of these masks. I don't manufacture any of these kits. I don't certify these kits. I don't do any of that. I'm a broker. I connect the manufacturer with the buyer. And
but you're sending out. Don't you think it's incumbent on you to send?
No, I cannot. Okay, I'm not going to verify everything that's coming to me before sending it to a buyer.
But it's not that complicated of a verification. Let me tell you how long it took me to find out.
Okay, no, listen.
It took me about that long. And I don't understand why you wouldn't do that if you're selling this stuff.
No, I am not preparing those brochures, buddy. You're not understanding. I'm not preparing those brochures.
But you're selling it. So
I am getting it from somebody. And there's you're talking about testing kit 2. I didn't send you testing kit. There's testing kit 1. The company, Audra Health Tech, is authorized by them to sell that testing kit. The only issue that came up was one certificate is fake in one of the kits. A buyer would know that, and we would know that before we sell to the buyer. We would know that if this kit was actually ordered by somebody. But it was never ordered, and it was never moved forward. We have like this testing kit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We get content, we sell it forward. And once the deal closes, that's when you go into verifying if it's real or there or not. Because you don't realize how many of these goods are moving every day.
So you're advertising before you know if the thing that you're selling is legit, is what you're telling me.
No, sometimes people we don't think the people sending us a fake certificate. Sometimes it happens. Out of how many of the let's talk about how much PPE I've delivered. Millions of masks, sanitizers, coveralls, hands gloves to people, to governments, to hospitals, to old age homes in times of their need. You don't want to talk about that.
No, I just haven't been able to verify it. I mean,
so I told you to verify. I said to you to verify. I sent you contracts. I sent you signed invoices. If you want, I send you. You can, you want to verify now? I'll call somebody now. You can call any of the numbers I sent you right now. Let's see if they answer.
The problem is this. You can sell a lot of stuff, and if it's not legit, that's a problem.
No, do you think? But ask them. Why would they come back to me? No, listen. I'm talking about buyers who have bought from me for $100,000 in the range. I delivered. They were happy. They came back a second time for $1 million plus range. And then they came back. Now they're coming back to me for a deal which is much bigger. And this all is tracked and delivered. And do you think I would be getting these deals for these transactions if I was selling fake stuff? There's people going after people daily. This fake case, these accusations were made by Miguel and Noah because they have nothing better to do.
No, do you think I'm the one who found they were fake. No. I'm the one who found the original source. And the other thing too is there's also these N99 masks from Audra Health that are not actually N99 masks. That's not an N99 mask that they're advertising. So it's like,
which one?
How can you
there's a lot of products. I'm a broker for Audra. Audra is not my company. I'm a broker. They sell me products. I sell them ahead.
But you just seem to keep showing up at the scene of the crime, and each time you're like, well, it wasn't really. I don't have any accountability.
Wait. Listen. I've been hundreds of companies. Do you think all 100 are going to be all clean and be very successful? No. There'll be a few stuff that goes wrong along the way.
There's a lot.
That's what happens when you. No, there's not. There's a lot of success. Let's be clear. There's a lot of success. You verified also. It's not lies to absent 15. It's not. This stuff is not lie. There's not. There's a lot of stuff which went wrong, and there's people unhappy, and there's stuff and stuff. So again, yes, there are. But Audra, I was always a broker. They sent me this. This is there. The proof is there. I didn't say. I sent you contracts of Audra. I didn't sign them. I'm not an authorized signatory. I'm not part of the company. I have 0% share in the company.
Are you willing to take an L on Audra Health Tech that they maybe didn't have the right certification?
I agree. They didn't have it. That I agree. That could have been done better.
I just want to see you take an L. I just want to see you admit, hey, there's some things shady going on here.
No, I don't agree there's something shady. I agree that process could have been done better in the way they should have tested the certificate from every broker before coming. But at the times like this, where we are responsible for getting so many goods to people in need, you can't check everything that comes to you. You just cannot. It's just, we have teams in place. I can't check what my team is doing if they haven't done the proper job at this time. I have to be dependent on some people. I'm a one man. I can't also make the brochures, also to the suppliers, also check the certificates, also up to the buyer, also the shipping company. I can't do everything on the process.
I mean, I think the bare minimum is making sure that when you're selling coronavirus gear, it's not.
Nothing is being sold before verified. I'm not going to be put.
But again, not advertising it either.
I am not. People send me. Okay, I posted on my Instagram a link of all the stuff that we're selling that was pre-populated from Audra's people, right? Pre-populated. Something comes. A lot of people saw it. Thousands of people went on that Google Excel sheet. They saw the product. We got a lot of queries. We talked to a lot of people. Obviously, there was mistakes made where something was published where the broker certificates were not right. That's fine. We agree. Okay, that could have been done better. We're doing it better now. Now we're doing it a lot better. Now we don't do anything advance payment. I've lost money with brokers where I paid suppliers. They didn't deliver the goods.
I feel like this is going to also go in circles. So let's move on. There's one last topic I want to touch. And this topic might be, I don't know what you want to call it. But it's kind of like, I don't know what you want to call it. I mean, I want to be polite here, but kind of behavior that suggests that maybe you're calibrating at a strange level. That's like you're way too, the ego's too big or something. So there's a bunch of screenshots that have been gotten out that you're claiming that you like control presidents, that you know Trump, that you know Nicki Minaj. And these things they seem like delusional behavior. And do you want to comment on those?
Yes. Okay. I'm happy to comment. This is delusional behavior from a delusional guy, Noah. This screenshot on Scam Reveals, this guy, these are fake screenshots. He's made up so much shit about me. He's made up all this COVID testing kits. All this stuff is made up about him because he's directly
but the COVID test isn't made up. That's real. I mean, you really
did. No, not this. No, not this certificate stuff. People posted stuff about me selling fake stuff about COVID before, right? On this Ballers Buster page. They posted stuff. That's what I'm talking about. That's all the acquisitions were made by Noah. Maybe this certificate you found. That's okay. I'm agreeing that could be wrong. What I'm saying is before,
it was the same stuff. It was basically the same stuff, though, that Baller Busters posted is just what I confirmed with finding out where the certificate was fake.
So exactly. So there's all this. Noah is making up a lot of this fake stuff about me, all these fake screenshots because he owes me money.
I don't see that it's fake though.
No, it's screenshots. He sent fake. I'm telling you, I sent you. He directly blackmailed me. He said, if you cancel my contract, if you let me go for this money, I'll delete all of this. This was his play. And I sent you a contract which you can call the Swiss notary, government entity, Switzerland government. They will verify to you how much he owes me. They will verify it to you. He owes me. He's doing a blackmail play. He's delusional. He's trying to blackmail me to get out of paying what he owes me. My hands were tied because the contract could only be enforced after May 1st, 2020. And now that COVID has ended, it's still there. I mean, now that the contract's enforceable, I can go and enforce it.
When I see things like this, Evan Luthra saying, I just met with Mike Pompeo in my last trip to New York, next seeing Trump soon, and you are the top of my agenda. I just see somebody who would also say that they're mentored by Steve Jobs, though.
I didn't say that, though. No, but that's what I'm saying. He tries to go around things which are relevant and that's the point, misinformation. Okay, buddy, If today I go post screenshots on Yahoo about you saying something, would you believe it? I can do that. I can
No.
do that, right? So that's the thing. So you are now believing what a delusional guy who owes me money on contract, trying to blackmail.
But
It's very clear.
hold on, though. Hold
Very
on,
clear.
Let me explain, though. There's a pattern of sort of delusional behavior going on here that you built an app at
A delusional guy has created that pattern.
Hold on.
He has created that misinformation.
Let me finish.
That delusional guy has
Let me
created
finish. That you're mentored by Steve Jobs when in fact you absolutely were not. The one phone call
But we
that
cleared
you're claiming,
that. That was a different mentor. Okay.
No, you
Okay,
didn't.
let's not
You
go
didn't
back there.
prove the
Let's not
phone
go back
call.
there.
And then also from other sources, I have similar delusional behavior going on with a screenshot
Whose
that
sources?
says
Please tell me your sources. No, but screenshots.
a screenshot that says Nicki
been
Minaj
doing
will
this
tell
page.
her 100 million plus followers later this week to go follow me. That's another
Buddy,
100K.
oh my
followers.
God! I announced this on my story. I announced this on my Instagram story. I paid Nicki Minaj $13,000 to do an Instagram promotion. This was on my story. He used that to make it into a screenshot. This was public news. Everybody knows Nicki Minaj, Cardi B did a giveaway where they told people to go follow me. It was already done. It was on my. They used this news to create all this stuff, and he posted on this page. It's a misinformation campaign. Constantly to get out of a contract that you can verify now he owes me $200,000.
This wasn't done by this hater or whatever. This wasn't sent by a hater.
No, it was done by him. These screenshots are on his scam reveals page. He runs that page. It's in the bio. These screenshots where you're talking, that's where I saw them. No, if you go there, this is where he posts all these fake screenshots, and maybe other people get from there then repost it.
I believe it's actually from. I believe it's from a Jet Smarter group. Maybe I think.
Jet Smarter group? I am part of one Jet Smarter group. Nothing's like that ever been posted there. Okay. We can go in right now.
Okay. I don't know who it's from.
Okay, so there you go. So again, there's no source vetting. You don't know where it's from, and you're believing a screenshot.
No, but you say Nicki Minaj. You're saying Nicki Minaj really did tell her 100 million
I didn't
followers.
say that. I posted on my story that Nicki Minaj is shouting me out, and then somebody made a screenshot based on that, and Nicki Minaj did, and then so did Cardi B. Like, this is normal. I did something. And people, that's the whole thing that's happening. You don't see that. People are turning things around, which I am not doing. They're turning things around what I'm actually doing.
But again, it's you consistently showing up at the scene of the crime. You're also saying that the person who said you created 30 apps by the time you were 15 was also lying.
Let's go back to the point you're talking. No. Now you're changing.
But no. I'm saying over and over again. You're saying, oh no, that's not the right information. No, that's not the right information. This is made up.
No, but
this
the
is a hater. This is a mistake. At what point is it just you?
No, these people are creating. There's stuff happening. Nicki Minaj did give me a shout out. Cardi B did give me a shout out. I posted about this on my story. If somebody goes and make a fake screenshot saying Nicki Minaj is gonna give me followers or what, the content is not fake. How he made it sound is fake.
Do you know Trump though?
Right?
Is that fake? Is that fake?
Yes, it's fake. It's fake. How do I know Trump? I would love to know him. I do not know him. If I knew him, I would be doing a lot better deals. I would be in a lot better place. I think I would be where I am right now. I do not know Trump on a first. I don't know him like that.
You might have been mentored by him, sort of, though, spiritually, like from like a.
No, I mean, see, if you want to go in the bullshit way, I can. That's not the point. I didn't say those things. That's what I'm saying. The things that I've said and things you can verify, which I wish you had made a better attempt. You could have done it, but you haven't done it. So there's things, and this Nicki Minaj stuff, this Cardi B stuff actually happened. If somebody went and made fake screenshots saying I boasted about it in a different way, then that's different. That's not my fault. That's not my fault. That's not me doing it. So you got to see it from my perspective too. And trust me, if Noah had so much time to create and run a page for so many months, it's a constant effort to get out of paying me the money. He could have gone to court. He didn't. He kept running this page on social media, creating this bullshit one after another, so that I let his loan go. If today I accept, it's not about the money anymore. If today I accept from him, then you don't have to pay me the loan. I've lost.
Here's the problem. It goes back, and we're going to have to start wrapping up here because it goes back to the tale of two Evan Luthras here. The problem is, as I said, there are two stories going on. And if everything else in your background checks out, you really did publish your first app when you were 13 years old. If you really did, create 30 apps by the time you were 15, I could much easier believe like, oh yeah, just one guy doesn't like
so
the
here's
guy.
the thing.
One guy's
I agree
posting
what you
crap
say.
about it.
Okay, let me
I
put
wouldn't
you
believe
my
it.
perspective to this. Let me put my perspective to this, right?
Okay.
There's two Evans. I agree in the media. This media is manufactured, right? There's two Evans in the media floating around. One is what I did, what I said. There's one which the media has said, what the media is saying. This two Evans was not created by me. And then there's in the middle this guy Noah coming and saying stuff about me. So there's a lot of misinformation.
No,
now.
you're controlling what the media says about
let me
you.
complete. Let me complete. I mean, there's a lot of stuff which is up to you what you want to believe, and there's a lot of stuff which is up to you which you want to believe, right? There's two different kind of stuff. You can decide what you want to believe in. To me, at this point, it's not affecting me, and I can't be putting in effort and time to separate or fix that image because I didn't create it. It served the media. I was a tool for the media. No. Okay, listen, my TV show, the Rich Kids of Instagram TV show I did, they made a lot of money from it. They put it out everywhere. It was TRP, right? They put it in 20 airlines. They made a lot of money from it, a lot of money. 20 plus airlines paid them money to put that show. For the media, I was a tool. Same thing happened with Google. I should give you the example where they used me. And because of that, I had benefits in my life. I was a tool used by the media. I had benefits. And today I have problems where the media is not proving detrimental to me. But I don't have the control of the media. I can't control it where I can remove stuff that's there. But it doesn't affect me today. People who want to work with me, who want to do business with me, they have the decision. It's their control. They can decide what they want to do. Do your research. I'm very good. I'm in a very good place.
But a lot of the press about you is basically manufactured, and then the press that doesn't seem to be manufactured does seem to have some merit to it, and so it's like, what?
No. But where's the merit?
I think if you owned up to, like, for example, lying about the Steve Jobs call, it would be much more understandable that you're a young kid wanting to make a name for yourself. Guy.
Okay. Listen, Forbes. All these people, they're not. You can buy content on Forbes. Yeah. I'm not denying that. You can buy. I write for Forbes myself, right? I've written articles.
You pay for it.
Yeah, but you can't become. Forbes will not make you a member of the Forbes Technology Council until they vet your company has had the success to be a member of the council. So they vet you.
I've seen a lot of Forbes.
Listen.
Forbes
okay,
that's
one example. So you're telling me this random kid, his words are more. He's a better journalist than these media companies that have been out there. I'm not denying you can't buy stuff.
What random kid are you talking about? This is my stuff.
This stuff that you're talking about in the media, right? The stuff that you're saying.
The things that are factually incorrect and provably wrong.
Yes, but I didn't publish that. No, but that's what I'm saying. That was misinformation. There was misinformation. That's what I'm coming to. See, the point is I can't clean the media today. It's not possible. That misinformation will be there forever.
When you say on your Instagram that rich people think differently than the average person, and my former mentor, Steve Jobs, was no exception. When you put that on your page, that's you controlling your own narrative and lying. Because you were never mentored by Steve Jobs.
And I told you my narrative when we started this call, and we agreed to disagree on how we looked at it.
Well, so no. Also, the narrative is the recording of you saying that you were not mentored by Steve Jobs and that you never said that. You quote, never said that. How can you say on a call, I never said that I was mentored by Steve Jobs, and then also be on the record saying that?
You're forgetting the point. Like I said,
I'm
in a much different position than you. You said that before on your call. You're not done the same. I'm saying I'm in so many places doing so many deals where I may have said something on a caption. You can't hold me for a caption. The truth is, I did a call with him. I built some of the best apps for his app store. At the age of 15, they were top 3 apps, the number one, the highest downloaded in the categories, and they had tons and tons of users. That's the truth. Now, if there's stuff around that, go do your research. Don't want to work with me? That's your choice. The people who work with me, they're very happy. They all made a lot of money. The people who are working with me, there's a lot of people who made a lot of money. And the people who didn't make money is because they're fault, not my fault.
Why do you think Steve Jobs called you? Why do you think Steve Jobs called you? Just reflecting.
I just told you because he wanted feedback on the App Store. It was a very normal call for somebody at that time to make.
But the App Store wasn't new, though. There were hundreds of thousands of apps that already existed by 2010.
But not how many of those apps were at the position my apps were. My apps were featured by Apple, new and noteworthy. Not once, not twice, more than 3 times.
You know Steve Jobs was almost on his deathbed when you published your first app, right?
Buddy, see, I can't prove that. So I'm not going to. No. Okay, if your goal here is to decreditize that story, there's no way to prove that. You can't put any proof up that's going to say it's not there. I can't put any proof of that says it's
No,
going
it
to be
just
there.
doesn't. It just doesn't make sense.
No,
This guy
listen.
who died.
No,
This guy who
no.
died literally a year after you
It doesn't
publish
make
your
sense
first
to
app
you,
is
but
calling
a lot
you.
of things that don't make sense to you. It doesn't make sense to me why protests are happening in the U.S. Well, police brutality in India, people get beaten up. So there's more people in India than the U.S. Things that don't make sense to you, not all things are going to make sense. It's a different thing. So please, let's not think you're Steve Jobs, right? I don't want to argue about this because you can't prove it. You're thinking for Steve Jobs. You're thinking what he would have done as if it's you.
No, but
I
your
can prove to
story
you,
is provably false.
okay,
Anyway,
buddy, let's see. I told you before on your email yesterday when you reached out, I can't prove the Steve Jobs call, but I did prove to you Google, which is equally successful company, the country heads coming up on stage and using me and asking if talking about my app. You want to believe that? Look, listen, let me finish. My readers want to believe, your viewers want to believe that. They can believe the country head of Google India, or they can believe anybody else they want to believe. That's up to them. There's examples, there's stuff that can be proven, the stuff 10 years in the past which can be proven. Let's not argue about what can and what cannot be.
we're not arguing. We're just talking about where you've lied, and I wish you would just come up and say you lied, and I'd be okay.
No, but that's where you're arguing. I'm telling you I didn't lie about the call, and you're saying I have. So
right.
there's no
we agreed to disagree, but I'm saying that in the two stories, I'm leaning on the one side because you can't.
You have the right to your opinion, my friend. You have the right to your opinion. You keep that. I keep mine. We talk about what can be proven, and that's it. If there are people saying I lied about Steve Jobs, let them go and say it. It's fine to me. It's not affecting me today because I can't control what people say. If some people want to go say something, they will say it. I can't control that. The misinformation. How do you go watch the Netflix documentary, The Great Hack? How do you think Donald Trump is president? Media manipulation. People say so much shit in the media that's not true that the Donald Trump is president. He basically manipulated people. The documentary is very eye-opening for people to see how they're manipulated with the media. It's a great way to understand that. But see, I can't prove the call. I've proven what I can prove. It's in front of you. The readers have that. I think this. I have a call in 4 minutes. I have to end this. The people, your audience has a decision. They can make what they decide is true or not. They have the facts. You have the facts. You if you want, you can post everything. You decided to pick and choose and post what you wanted. Why don't you post all the emails I sent you for proof? Obviously, out of respect to the people, blurring out the numbers. But they can see it. Then they will decide who they want to believe. It's very true. Everybody has a decision to decide what they want to believe. They have the ability to do the research, go into the details of what they want to believe. They have the ability to do that research if they really want to do it. Most people who do business, most people who are buying, people who are dealing with million-dollar deals, they're not signing a contract based on media, my friend. They're going into the details of what I've done in the past. They're doing research.
I really don't mean to cut you off, but we're going on too long. Can I just ask you this? How much money did you get from your father when you started, and do you consider him the reason that you're successful?
I will end this in a way that I didn't get any money from him. I didn't need any money at the beginning. Like I said, I didn't need any money because I built apps by myself and I sold my first app myself. But I used I started when my father had a call center that failed. My story started with one of his failures. There was computers lying around, and that's how I started. I didn't need any money from him to go and do something. Let's look at it this way. There's 2 billion people in the world at least who started off worse than me. At least 2 billion worse than me. But there's at least 1 billion people, including yourself, who started off with better surroundings in a better place. When I was born, my father had not even a cycle, not even a bicycle, not even a car. When I was 10 years old, my father bought his first motorcycle. Before that, he had no car, no money. All this is proven. So I didn't need money from him.
Is it proven though?
And yes, you can check that, man. You can check that.
Some of the things you're saying are proven or not proven, buddy.
You can, check this, please. Check this after the call. Check it after the call. I'm thankful. I am where I am because of my father. I'm never going to just say that I am anywhere without him. If it was not because of him, I would not be.
But he
where
didn't
I
give
am
you any
today.
money. That's the point.
He didn't give me money. I didn't need money. I didn't need money to build apps.
You guys heard it here first.
I didn't need any money because I built apps and I got a good success there.
I'm glad to get the scoop. I think I saw on a documentary that you got a loan from your father, but maybe they were wrong. So
maybe they were wrong. There you go.
There's another case of the media getting it wrong. Evan, thank you for coming on.
Okay, the documentaries, they have got so much stuff wrong. They have come and filmed me in my offices and cut and said stuff to make TRP. I have art documentaries for biggest television networks, and they change the stuff to make it sell. They made it look like I'm a playboy. Like the first documentary I did, they made me look like a playboy, that I'm not working, that I didn't have any success. So because it served them. I'm not denying that. I enjoy the spoils of my success.
Actually,
But
I have one
these
more.
documentaries
I thought of one more question.
change stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. I have one more question.
But bro, I have 1 minute. I gotta go.
Do you
really.
sign checks while drunk on the super clubs?
Not 100%. I made some of the best investments in nightclubs. When you go to a nightclub like me and get a table for 10 grand, the guy next to you is also getting a table for 10 grand, and the guy on the other side.
But do you sign contracts? Do you sign virtual contracts while balling
I've signed napkin contracts. Yes, I've signed contracts with people in the clubs, and those investments have gone on to become really successful.
Good for you, man.
They've gone on to become really successful.
Well,
and this is true.
Hey,
this has great success for me.
Thanks.
I've met. You have to remember, the guy in the club who's spending 10K is not coming.
I gotta cut you off. I love you. We can talk forever. Listen, thanks for coming on the show. I hope people have learned a lot. They can go do their own research, find what's true, what isn't. Hopefully, we got some of it out today. Evan, thanks for coming on, getting the hot seat. I'm sure.
Well, appreciate you coming on, and congrats to you. You had the courage to speak up, and hopefully people who watch this, they make their own decisions. We go from there. I wish everyone the best, and thank you for your time, mate. Have a good day.
All right, see ya.
Take care.